Hello, welcome back to the Hollywood Actor's Guide to Surviving the Film and Television Industry. This is your host, Jennifer Lynn Warren. So let's talk about a quote by Peter D. Marshall. He teaches film directing. And he says, making a good movie is the art of visually telling a compelling story with believable characters who make us feel something. So, if we agree with his definition of what a good movie is, how do we make an audition tape that has a compelling story with believable characters that make us feel something? I think we just start by just being aware of it. Be aware of it. I think that my personal feeling is that ketone blue that so many actors are using as their backdrops to their auditions looks awful on everybody. Many casting directors disagree with me. Many casting directors use it. However, when I was looking for a new background for my auditions, I was usually using like this grayish purple. It looks beautiful, but it's a flat, boring wall with no depth. And I decided that I wanted my audition tapes to stand out some more. And so I found a studio backdrop that actually I took a picture of my eyes and I blew them up really big. And I found a backdrop that had the exact same colors that are in my eyes, so that when I stand in front of it, my eyes pop. And so in that way, I feel that I am helping my tape along visually. I will put things in the background. I will do whatever I need to do without distracting the audition to make it interesting. And this is a decision that I have made. You don't have to do it. I understand, especially if you're just starting out or if you're in a smaller market, you can really scare your local casting directors by going too crazy, right? If you have an outdoor audition, I would not shoot it outside, because I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't have the right film equipment to make it look and sound good. So please shoot it inside. But to make a decision at some point in your career, as I have, that this is my audition and I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it, I make sure that it is visually telling a compelling story. And that also goes with your wardrobe choices. And I know sometimes they're like, oh, don't go too far in your wardrobe, blah, blah, blah. But occasionally you get this character and you know, if your wardrobe is not right, it's not going to be believable, no matter how in the moment you are. Because if you're embodying this character, you need to embody the character. And when you watch your tape back, you need to make sure that you're emotionally connected and that your audience is going to feel something in your audition. So you're hitting your objectives, your beats. It's not enough just to memorize your lines and think you look good saying them. You need a basis, an art, a craft to what you do, to know how to move your audience. And that's when you know that your self-tape is ready to send. You know how else you can get some help with your self-tapes? Logging on to weaudition.com using promo code HAG25 and start building a community there with fellow actors, directors, and writers who are there to help you with your audition, or sign up yourself to help others and earn a little bit of money in the process. That's weaudition.com, promo code HAG25. Here is something I've become painfully aware of when working with actors, that your state of mind as an actor while you're performing is not an indication of any way of what you are doing, nor is it an indication of the impression that you are creating on your audience. There is a bit of schizophrenia that comes with acting. If you throw yourself into the performance and you're like completely in the now and blah, 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 blah. There are some of you that have a unique talent to be able to grasp that and be amazing and give a great performance. Most of you, however, remain painfully unaware that your performance is uncrafted and untruthful, because you are swimming and wallowing in the fact that, oh, a tear came into my eye, my performance must be absolutely riveting. Where most actors, most great actors, are going to be able to tell you that there's two selves many of the times when performing. There's the character that you allow to live completely immersed in the immersion of the world, and then there is the observer. Those of you out there that practice mindfulness meditation, which I highly recommend, will know exactly what I'm talking about with the observer. The observer is someone or thing in our mind that is with us at all times. If you have done a mindfulness meditation, this will be very familiar to you. I will try to explain it to you, but I do think you should try. Sam Harris does a great mindfulness meditation course. And it's being able to sit and being able to observe that there is an observer in your mind. Some of you have not done a lot of work with your mind and will think that I'm absolutely insane and crazy. Those of you who have worked with David Lynch will know that it's almost part of his directorial language to be a meditator, to understand sometimes some of the things he's talking about. And so I think that disconnect is traveling even when you are watching your self-tapes back. You're watching them back and you think they're wonderful. I know this is kind of a continuation of part one, but you're not being clear on what you're really watching. You just think it's brilliant. But if you don't get the part, then it's not. So something that you can do is to keep your audition tapes, wait, maybe even 6 months, a year, and start to go back through your auditions. Sounds like a long time, but time flies. And look back at your older work, and you'll be able to see it more clearly. And you'll wish you have seen it. You're like, I'm ready to do my next take. I didn't see it that way. This is why we have directors, to make sure you're not doing it this way. That's why we have coaches, right? But you have to be open to the coach, because I would say about 70% of the people I redirect do not take the redirect. They might do something different, but they're not doing the redirect. And so I guess I just want you to start being more aware of the philosophical leanings of acting and the crazy complex layers that are there. This is not easy work at all, and it never ends. It will never, ever end. So you best love the journey, or consider you might want to do something else, right? What is talent anyway? Let's look at what the great acting teacher Uta Hagen said about talent. She believed it was an amalgam of high sensitivity, easy vulnerability, high sensory equipment, which is seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting intensely, a vivid imagination, as well as a grip on reality, the desire to communicate one's own experience and sensations, and to make oneself seen and heard. I'm not sure the desire to be seen and heard is really part of talent, though I do agree with her that intense desire to express yourself does cultivate your other talents. But I do think she's right. You notice our great artists, like the greatest artists, they're very sensitive, very sensitive. Unfortunately, that's why a lot of them turn to drugs or alcohol, or they're getting into these crazy things because they're being asked to, access parts of themselves that they were already accessing to begin with because it's part of their talent, and now it's just like a floodgate, and I do believe that the ability to be vulnerable is excruciatingly important to be talented. And if you cannot be vulnerable to those closest to you in your life, how are you going to be vulnerable on stage and on film and TV? There's a great podcast called Dead Eyes. It's with this great actor. He got fired from a film because Tom Hanks said he had dead eyes. It's great. It's a wonderful podcast. But to kind of back Tom Hanks there is something to be said about that moment in which you're connecting, and when you're having a conversation with somebody and you can just tell that they've tuned out. And a lot of you are working on your acting process, but do you notice, are your eyes alive? Are you engaged? Is your whole soul awake? Or are your eyes dead as well? Are you also about to be fired by Tom Hanks? Are you? Because that wound, that vulnerability is also that willingness to be hurt. So if you're somebody who's like, I'm done with love, I'm done with this, I'm done with that, I'm just going to get hurt, and I'm not going to open myself to people, and I'm done being friends with that person because they just disappoint me. Like, are you shutting yourself down? Are you turning off the valve of your talent? And do you need to find a way maybe to turn that baby back on and back up and let those floodgates out in a safe and healthy way? And by the way, going to go see a psychologist is not the worst thing for your acting career. So that's it. That's all I have for you this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you like the show, please rate and review us. I haven't gotten a review in like a hot minute. I'm very sad. I'm a sad panda. Just one review this week would make me so happy. No longer sad panda, instead happy panda. And you don't want the pandas to be sad, do you? Do you? Break a leg out there, and remember, you are not